All right. I'm well aware that a lot of us are using our lunchtime or have a limited amount of time to be able to commit to today's meeting. So in the interest of maximising our time to be able to share and discuss today, I will get things started. Can everyone see my screen there okay? Did you join us? Wonderful. So today, ladies and gentlemen, our hope, our intent is to be able to address the subject of transitioning or joining a new school environment mid-school year. Obviously, there are far more considerations and things to think about when it comes to moving, other than the period of the traditional entry for the school. And today, it's our hope that you'll get a much clearer picture of, firstly, who we are as a school and why we have something to say about mid-year joiners. YMCA Christian Academy is in a really privileged position for the fact that our school is growing. We have the capacity to grow, and we have seen quite an influx and increase in mid-year joiners in recent history. That, to some degree, has given us a great lens and a great opportunity to learn from suitably supporting and assimilating the smooth transition of new students to our school. So I hope you'll be able to learn something in that regard, but also as families, just what you could do if you're considering mid-year transition, what you can do to support, what you can do to help to prepare your child for an effective transition to a school. Okay, so I'll start us off today just with a brief introduction to who we are as YCA. So YMCA Christian Academy is a private international primary school, and our orientation in terms of our focus, our vision for our students is to ensure that they are well prepared for the future, well prepared for both the opportunities and the challenges that the modern world provides. We also want our students to understand the value of being a member of a community. And our community is a very close-knit one, as a small Christian community. And it is very much, we are known very well as a small school with a big heart. And that very much defines who we are as a community as well as a school. Another defining aspect of us as a school is our belief and dedication to small class sizes. What we want is to build very strong relationships between students and educators. And as we build those relationships, trust is built and students are able to optimize their learning. So we are, as you can see there, we're wanting to not just teach students and support them, but we are seeking to empower students to be able to navigate their learning, to break through any learning and barriers they may have, and to achieve their goals and ambitions. We are very proud to say that we are accredited with the IPC, the International Primary Curriculum, which is quite similar to, in some ways, to the IB curriculum, and particularly in the way we implement it. We are also accredited with the Council of International Schools. That means that we have an independent body come in and assess our school from top to bottom, everything from administration all the way through teaching and learning to child protection, child safety, etc., etc. So we are very proud of this accreditation. We're currently going through an accreditation cycle right now. We have a team visiting in mid-March to re-accredit our school. So we are looking forward to that process. And we're also a member of the Future Schools Alliance. And this shows our commitment as a school to being able to work with like-minded schools with similar visions to support students to be future ready. And if we are comparing practices between schools, we're able to improve our practice and ensure that we're doing the best possible for preparing our students, not just in what we think might be useful, but actually that is proving to be useful for them for the future. So those are our accreditation bodies and alliances. Now, YCA, as I mentioned, is an IPC curriculum school. Now, what is the IPC? As I said, for those who are familiar with the IB's PYP, that is a curriculum that has some similarities. We approach the IPC through an inquiry-based learning model and with specific learning goals in each and every subject that we have within the IPC. So the IPC covers the broader curriculum. And for those who aren't familiar with that, it's between science, the geography, history, and arts covered within the IPC. And each of the learning units that the students engage in are very thematic and very much designed to evoke curiosity and engagement in students. And one thing that students love about the inquiry projects is we have what's called an exit point at the end of each unit, where they get to present, to demonstrate their learning, and to celebrate with their family and with their classmates. And it's a wonderful celebration that happens throughout the year. The IPC is also heavily differentiated in terms of making sure that we are catering to individuals' learning needs and their learning pace as well. Okay. Now, in terms of students who may be moving from maybe a local school or from a more traditional curriculum, the difference of the IPC is that we are engaging students as real agents and real drivers of their own learning. We want students to develop that confidence and that independence, and they do so through, as you can see here, the learning process. It is, you can see it's asking research questions, it's observing, investigating, understanding, recording, consolidating, reporting, presenting, and communicating. One thing that's said very widely about our school and our students is that our students are very strong communicators. And that comes from them having to consolidate all of these learning processes so that they are able to authentically understand and authentically know what they're talking about when they're presenting. So some of the benefits, as you can see, they are learning to take ownership of their own learning, both in the sense of student-led learning, but also in terms of developing their skills and understandings as an agent as well. They are encouraged and very, very regularly do apply their learning in their everyday lives. And we call this action. We want students to be able to not just learn things, but we want this to arouse in them interest and arouse in them a desire to act, to do something, to change something, to improve both their own and the lives of those in their community. And also students as agents and within the IPC, they learn how to reflect on their learning process and on their performance. And that is a great catalyst in their improvement as well. In terms of our core curriculum, we have UK National Literacy and Numeracy Framework. So it is UK-based English and UK-based maths. We have a strong emphasis on our literacy in terms of strong reading and writing skills at the school. Obviously, it extends to listening, speaking, viewing, and presenting. But this year, we've had a real focus on writing, and we are seeing real improvements in our writing skills in our students. It is a wonderful, wonderful thing to see because we're adopting a new model called the workshop model, and it's been a really great enhancement to the teaching and learning. For the maths, we use a curriculum resource known as White Rose Maths, which is a great way to support students, even those who might be reluctant learners in maths, to build their confidence, their knowledge, to be great and creative communicators and thinkers as mathematicians. And you can see we're very blessed at YCA. We have specialist subjects that extend beyond most other international schools. PE, art, and music are offered as specialist subjects. And we also have a special innovation lesson as well, which engages STEM science, but more so the overarching concept of innovation, which we believe every student needs to build competencies for the future. We do have a strong Chinese curriculum in terms of our students. They are really, really blessed with having 3 wonderful teachers for our Chinese program. And students are leveled in terms of 3 ability pathways. So a beginning, intermediate, and advanced. So it gives students a real point of learning, where they are being challenged and being able to progress very, very regularly. We have our mentoring program. We use traditional characters, and the approach we use is to ensure that every student is building a love for learning language. It is essential that we have students engaged and enjoying the process of learning, because with a lesson they have every day, we want to make sure that they are, as I said, truly authentically engaged, and they learn a lot through story, through narrative, and they gain a great deal of confidence and enjoyment in doing so. As well, our Chinese department engages in annual events. We just had our Chinese New Year celebrations. Plus, we also enter the Chinese reading battle as far as that competition, and also the Chinese Language Festival. Okay, that's enough from me. I think you'd be getting weary of my voice by now. So I'll hand over to Mr. V, who will tell you some more information about how we specifically support our mid-year joiners and the systematic approach that we use. Thank you, Mr. V.
Thank you. So my name is Ronald. Again, I'm the Vice Principal for Pastoral Care. I'm also the Head of Learning Diversity. And one of the main roles that I have is to oversee admissions and to make sure that the children that are joining our school is set up for success. And this means working with the parents even before they join YCA to make sure that it is the right fit. And when we do decide that they are able to join, that we have a path for them to be successful. So we have had an increase in mid-year school student transfers from the local schools, and we were able to tailor make this this checklist. So you can see here, the first one is self-directed learning skills. We've broken it down to readiness for learning, engaging learning and goal setting, and monitoring and managing. In a nutshell, it's really all about the students taking more ownership about their learning. A lot of the times when students transfer from the local school to our school, you'll notice that they're quite passive, that they're waiting for the teachers to give them step-by-step instruction. And we all know that international education is all about agency. That means the student is part of the learning process, that they have their voice, that they do value their choice, and that they're aware of their responsibility. Next is active listening. It's broken down into turn taking, evaluating the purpose and meaning of what they're listening to, activating sub skills and strategies. So again, this is a subset of skills that are lacking with quite a few of our students who are joining us mid-year. What does it mean? That means in the classroom, when they're listening to the teachers, they're not always aware that they have to actively listen. I think they're used to learning in patterns. That means they're just waiting for the worksheet. They're waiting for the teachers to grade them. Whereas it's supposed to be, again, learning should be an active process. That means being able to take turns in class discussions, being able to listen to not only the teacher, but their peers when they're giving, when they're sharing their opinion, and they're able to formulate their own opinions and bounce back ideas. This is known as constructivist learning in mainstream education. Next is motivation. We do see that a lot of students who transfer mid-year lack that motivation to come to school for a variety of reasons, but most likely because motivation hasn't been addressed in their own learning environment. What does it look like in YCA? We want to let every student know that learning is theirs. And so we always find a variety of ways to motivate them. One, our teachers are well trained in building rapport. That means your children, if they do join our school, will like their teachers. That goes a long way in the love for learning and the enjoyment of learning. Second, because we have such a healthy and joyful learning environment, they love coming to school because it's a lot like play. It's a lot like play. It's a lot like being with friends and family. And then finally, it's the collaborative learning skills. So learning, I suppose, when in their former school or their former school setting has been kind of linear. We do expect, and this is true for a lot of international schools, if not all, that learning is expected to be happening in a group. And that means that children need to be able to have collaborative learning skills, such as collaborative learning within English and math and inquiry, and we'll be able to access, again, the hands-on learning subjects such as STEM, such as arts and PE, and that's done in a community. It's not about what the teacher wants. A lot of the times it's about the group trying to figure out what is the purpose, what does that mean to them specifically as an individual, what does it mean to their culture or their interests, and then applying that into the various subjects. And then finally, load management skills. We do see that a lot of children who's come from schools that were not a good fit for them lack the ability to manage their own load. That means they either lack the stamina or they're unable to prioritize what they need to do and get those done. And those are skills that we're able to target within a certain period of time. Next slide, please. Thank you. So YCA does take great pride in having an inclusive learning environment. What does that mean? That means we go through a lot of preparation and we put in a lot of effort in making sure that each child is included in the learning, included in discussions, included in play, included in growth in general. So we do that by acknowledging that each child is an individual and that they all have their learning styles and their preferences and their own backstory, their own culture and history. So how do they benefit from our school environment, specifically to the mid-year joiners? We have a very strong EAL support. That means we celebrate the fact that most students who join us mid-year have a different mother tongue than English. That's not something that we just bear with or something that we excuse. It's something that we celebrate. And that means we empower them a lot of times by saying, that's okay, you're still learning how to speak English. You can definitely express yourself in Mandarin or Cantonese in the inquiry project. Or sometimes they'll code switch. They'll speak in their own language and then the teachers will help translate through either assistive technologies or through an assistant who speaks bilingually. We are able to use their mother tongue, their heart language, and celebrate that in our school setting. Next slide, please. So we do also have a very strong SEN support. What does that mean? That means we focus on the word ability and not disability. We try to figure out and understand what a child needs to learn skill-wise, and we don't really focus so much on what their deficits are and how different they are. And you'll be surprised at how effective that is. When children know that you respect them for who they are and yet still have high expectations, students with ASD, students with ADHD, most of the time are able to learn how to monitor and manage their own learning barriers. They're in charge. They know that they have the responsibility. We teach them the strategies, and they're able to eventually use them to become successful. So next slide, please. Thank you. So again, to have more details in that, how is the learning in the classroom different? So I'll give you 4 areas. We can differentiate the learning in the classroom through these elements: the content, the process, the product, and the learning environment. So obviously we can change the content if your child's not learning, or if your child wants to learn about a certain topic, most of the time we're able to do that. We're also able to change the process depending on how your child learns best. It could be through digital media, it could be towards more hands-on, it could be verbal, it could be non-verbal. We could also change the product. So the end product doesn't always have to be the same. Sometimes, so long as it hits the same learning objective, the product can be quite different. It could be a Google Doc, it could be a Google slide, it could be an actual poster, it could be a rhyme, it could be a song. What's most important for us is that all children understand that they're all working towards the same learning objective, but they can do it in their own way. Finally, the learning environment. Our learning environment, meaning the classroom, the hallways, the whole school, has been enhanced to reflect the learners that we have and the teachers that we have. So we're able to make sure that the rooms, the displays, the furniture, the way it's positioned, it all changes depending on what the students need. And that's not always perfect at the beginning of the year, but you'll see as we listen to the children's voice, the teacher's voice, and everyone collaborating, even the parents have an input, we're able to fine tune it to the best possible combination. Next slide, please. Thank you. So when students do join us, a lot of the times they are required to have explicit coaching. What does that mean? That means explicit means we're able to name the actual skill and we're able to practically coach the development of the skills. I'll give you a really good example. One of the skills is active listening. So we're able to name the skill, which is active listening, and then explain to the student very carefully and very clearly. Active listening requires you to make eye contact with the speaker, requires you to listen and repeat what the speaker is saying in your head. Check if you understand, ask questions, make sure that your whole body is facing and showing that either you understand, or maybe you can slump it a little bit to show that you don't understand. And all these things is taken into account as part of listening. It's not just listening with your ears, but also being able to give verbal feedback. So you can see here lots of mid-year joiners from year 2 all the way to year 6. There's a good balance between the boys and girls, but overall, 24 out of 28 have received explicit coaching, and a lot of them have been really successful. In fact, I think 100% of them, if you interview them, have found the journey in YCA to be fruitful and that they're enjoying it and that they're understanding that learning is theirs and learning is all about growing. Next slide, please. So here are some real life examples. We had a year 4 student join in mid-year last year, and now he's in year 5. He did struggle with writing and self-management skills. So as I said, we always work with the parents. So even before he came into the school, the parents already understood that we were concerned about those 2 things. 3 weeks into school, we noticed and observed that that learning barrier is still there. We always engage the student. So the student, him or herself, actually said to us, Mr. B, or said to me, Mr. B, I am struggling with being able to organize my learning, or I'm struggling with the writing. And so we were able to be proactive and give the coaching that was required. And a few months after he joined, he was able to already show excellent and remarkable progress. I think, again, to put it in context, the admissions test showed him writing 3 lines, very simple sentences. And then the ISA, which is the International Schools Assessment, showed him writing in paragraphs, showing him using a variety of vocabulary. And that was achieved through voice typing. That means, well, he was having a hard time because he was focusing on the spelling most of the time. And again, most international schools do target spelling, but it's not the most important thing. The most important thing is the ideas, the understanding of the writer when it comes to text type features. That means the features of the writing and the ability to actually come up with unique ideas and engage the purpose. And he or she did a really great job in showing tremendous growth in that. So it is a he. And the type of writing that was improved upon most was exposition and argument writing and narrative and reflective writing. Next slide, please. Thank you.
Oops. Right.
Back. Thank
Okay.
you. One more back, please.
Oh, sorry. That was it?
I think there was one year 3 now. Is it not there? Apologies for the. Oh, I think that's not. All right. Thank you, Mr. Blake.
No problem. Thank you so much, Mr. V. It's very easy to hear when you are listening to those real life examples and the approach we use at YCA that our approach is not there's no lack of intent in terms of what we're doing. We're very, very focused on what we are observing and what we are collecting data on. And then we act very, very purposefully to ensure that students are supported at every step of the way. And very much connected with that, our approach to transition, whether it be at the commencement of the year, whether it be at the middle of the year, or whether it be at the end of the school, the life at YCA in terms of year 6, we always are seeking to support our students' successful transition. It is so very, very important for young people to have this layer of support. And at YCA, we actually call it a premium transition, both into school. And right now, I'd like to outline what we do for our year 5 and 6 students in terms of making sure that we are actively and very, very specifically supporting students and their families in preparation for secondary school. So with premium transition, our guarantee and our statistics speak of this, our ability to place students in very well-renowned international schools, both in Hong Kong and abroad, is owing to our premium transition model. So we commence premium transition in year 5 by engaging parents in giving them information and helping them to understand the nuances of different schools, the pros and cons of different schools when it comes to their location, their fees, the curriculum, the types of facilities that they have at the schools. And that really helps parents to form a framework and potentially a top 3 list is what we like to call it. And then by year 6, we're engaging with parents and consulting with parents. We will have opportunities to consult to firm up that list and provide opportunities to go to open days. We have an event where we have a coffee morning, as you can see, where schools come. I think we had 6 or 7 of our partner secondary schools come to represent their school, to be able to give parents and students some information. And one great thing about it is we have our students get up and they do the walking and talking first. The parents come second in terms of ensuring that the students feel that they have the confidence and the agency to go and ask questions about their potential secondary schools. And we also take the step of going further in supporting students with their interview preparation skills. You can see in the photos there, we have interview preparation practice, where we engage students in specific questions that we've had fed from our secondary school partners that really support them and give them that extra sense of confidence in preparing for the interview process. And you can see, the 2 statistics that we're very proud of: 100% of our year 6 families have been placed in best fit secondary schools for them. And also, if you speak to our students, they speak very, very fondly about the process and the support that they've received, as do our parents. Last but not least, I hope you found a lot of that information very supportive in terms of your consideration of both a mid-year transition, but also in terms of understanding YCA as a very, very capable institution as a primary school for supporting your child to be able to make the smoothest possible and well-supported transition into an international school. In terms of the admissions process, we are now enrolling for our upcoming academic year. You'll see the years for year 1 is 2019, for year 2 is 2018. And if you are interested in applying, you might be able to see Christine and Jessie on the call today. They would be more than happy to support you in terms of any questions and inquiries that you have. We do have some limited places for the current academic year. If you are interested in joining mid-year, we would welcome your interest. And I believe that brings us to a conclusion of our presentation. But we'd like to use the later part of our meeting today, ladies and gentlemen. If you do have any specific questions that you would like addressed now, please feel free to either unmute yourself and ask a question directly or post it in the chat. And while we're waiting for anyone who would like to be brave enough to unmute themselves, please pay attention to the URLs and the links for further communication here, both our website, our WhatsApp, and if you are interested in booking a school tour. So is there anyone?
Yes.
Sorry, Christine?
We do have a question from Ruth. How does a child start Chinese from 0 entering into year 2?
Entering year 2. That's a good question, Ruth. Our differentiated Chinese program for the beginners, we are well and truly, we have a really differentiated spectrum in that beginning group from those who have 0 language whatsoever, for the fact that we have a number of students as mid-year joiners, a number of which are coming from overseas with minimal, if any, Mandarin experience or exposure. We have each of our beginning levels all the way through the school. The beginning Chinese class always has scope for the differentiated Chinese instruction that is meeting them at their point of entry. So it is not that students entering mid-year have to do any cramming of Chinese preparation to allow them to access that curriculum. It is differentiated effectively so that those students are able to join in the class. They're able to access the learning, albeit at a differentiated level. And then as they build their skills, they are assimilated more and more within the regular program. Thank you, Ruth. Are there any other questions within the audience today? Now, I do appreciate that many of you would have specific questions with regards to your child specifically, and that is what we're well and truly happy to support with. So Christine and Jessie, by way of contact, as you can see on the screen there, if you'd like to drop them a WhatsApp or a phone call or an email, they'll be more than happy to support with any specific questions you have. But I do hope, ladies and gentlemen, today has been supportive in some way to your better understanding of how to prepare your child effectively for a potential mid-year transition, but also the understanding of YCA, our provisions, and also our willingness to support mid-year joiners as well. Okay, so thank you once again for your time today. Really appreciate you giving up your lunchtime at a very busy time of the year to find out more about mid-year entry and YCA. Thank you very much, and we do hope to be able to see you very soon. Bye for now. Thank you.